Hi guys, welcome back. Recently I've been thinking a lot about racing thoughts because I was taking a nap and when I woke up my brain was like on fire. Like just so many things were racing through it and I couldn't like even comprehend what was going on. Later that day it kind of went away, but ever since then I've been thinking about it, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit, specifically in bipolar disorder, I guess, because it's a lot different than just normal like quicker thoughts. It's more like they just keep coming, they won't slow down, and sometimes you have no control over them. So I think for me it happens both when I'm depressed and manic, which doesn't really make sense because usually it's just in mania that you really can't control it. When I'm depressed, I also have way too many thoughts and it just keeps me up at night, or I could be doing work or be in class and I just be thinking about other stuff. And usually these things aren't so great. Like when I'm depressed, it's more about things in the past that I was embarrassed about, or things that I wish hadn't happened. So it just, the thoughts kind of bring me down and they just come by themselves. It's not like I'm choosing to think about them, so it kind of sucks. But also when I'm manic, um there are different types of thoughts. It's more like new ideas for how to do things or just random thoughts that I don't think anybody has really thought before, like making up my own realities and stuff. It's very strange. So those are the ways kind of that racing thoughts affect me. People with bipolar disorder, usually they come a lot more when you're manic and it's hard to like calm them down. So a few tips that I've heard of before in therapy and whatever is just um it sounds really like simple and obvious, but it does work a little bit if you really focus on it. It's just counting up or down, and sometimes if that's not enough to like hold your attention, you can start counting up by like threes or sevens or whatever random number makes it harder, and just kind of think about that, and sometimes it helps. Sometimes when I do that though, it's like you're trying really hard to shut everything else out, but it's also fighting back. So it just feels like a lot of extra noise is trying to get into your head when you're trying to calm it down, and that can get annoying. So it might not always work for you, but that is one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is just write them down. Usually when you write down things, you can't write as fast as you can think. So when you start writing them, I notice that when I do this, my thoughts slow down a little bit too, because like I can only think as fast as I can write when I'm actually focusing on writing it down. Another thing is kind of just doing some art or activity, exercising, and just letting those thoughts come as they please, and just not engage with the thoughts. It's more like observing them and distancing yourself from the thoughts. I forgot what it was called, but just letting them happen as you're doing your art or exercising. I do that when I run. I kind of just let the thoughts flow through. So that's another thing, just letting the thoughts come when you're doing something else. I would also maybe suggest like reading or watching a show or a movie, because sometimes when you're focusing on something else that has a story, your own thoughts have a harder time pushing through. Of course, again, for me, sometimes when I'm trying to focus on reading or doing something, my thoughts still come through and I'm still not able to focus. It's still really hard sometimes, even though I've been dealing with this for a while. I just still have a little bit of trouble controlling them, so it's not easy. I know that, but hopefully You can find ways to either distance yourself from the thoughts, distract yourself, or just try to calm your brain down by thinking about something else. Those are only a few things. There are probably a lot other things out there, but those are my suggestions, and I will see you guys later.